Malik Beasley hasn't played for a bunch of games, and obviously this offseason, because of an injury, obviously this offseason he will have to do the workhouse thing or whatever. I don't know, go to jail at night or whatever. So let's talk about this. Where do you think Malik Beasley fits in this team? And also, do you think that he could be a trade piece this offseason, or do you think he's a part of the long-term plan with the Wolves? And we'll start with you, Chris. What do you think?
I think a lot of it's going to come down to ping pong balls. Because I think if we get the pick, which, even if we were the number one or the worst team in the NBA, we still had a 60% chance of losing the pick. So even if we do get the pick, which will be odds against us, that guy brings it. That rookie's going to bring in a $10 million salary, and we can't afford that. So we would have to move Ricky and some pieces to even just make room for that $10 million salary. And I think at this point, I'm starting to think that I don't know if we're going to be able to move Ricky. I don't know if he has enough. He might have enough value on the right moment to someone for take on the 17 million for 1 year expiring, but I think we'd have to add so much to it. And I don't know. It'll be tricky. I think Ricky or Beasley is gone if we get that first pick. I think it's almost guaranteed. If we lose that first pick, I think then maybe Beasley stays. But it's going to be very interesting because I'm not sure what his role is. I think he's on one of the best contracts in the NBA. I'll say that right now. And I know some people disagree with that, but as just a flamethrower, before he got hurt, he was in the month before he got hurt, he was averaging like 25 a game. He had multiple 30-point games, multiple 25-point games, shooting great percentages. He's a very good basketball player. It's just how many more points are we looking to score? Like that's not – when we were watching the Golden State game, they said something that was kind of interesting where they have pretty much Clay and they have Curry and like maybe one other piece that's like their offensive guys. And then everybody else on that team is defense because those guys can carry enough offense. I think D'Lo, Edwards, and Cat will be able to carry our offense enough with guys like Jaden pitching in what he does and, here and there guys pitching in, 5 to 10 points. But I almost don't know if we can afford 14 million on another guy that's almost all offense. I just don't know if we can. And that's not even getting the fact that I don't even know what's going on with him. Like this hamstring to be out this long is a little suspect. To happen right when like his new girlfriend, Scottie Pippen's ex-wife, like kicks him out again, like kicks him out or breaks up with him. And like it's just been really ugly in his personal life right when this hamstring happened. Like, I don't know, man. It's just, I don't know if it was like, hey, man, you got to get your life together, or maybe it is really a hamstring. I don't know. I tore my hamstrings once and it took forever to heal. So I don't know. It's just, he's going to be the wild card this offseason in my mind. I don't know. And I think it's going to depend on what happens in the draft, but there's going to be a lot of moving pieces, I think, around him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I did see this, that Malik Beasley has resumed on-court activity. So
that's good.
So yeah, maybe he comes back and maybe, but I think it is encouraging, kind of like what you were saying, that we have been winning games even without him. So it's not like we've been, and a lot of that has been people stepping up off the bench, particularly D'Lo off the bench, Juancho off the bench,
Nas
absolutely off the bench. So I mean, we have one of the best scoring benches in the league. But Jared, anything to add on that? Your thoughts on Malik?
It gets kind of tough, like Chris was saying, because I've been a big Malik Beasley supporter. I think, like you said, he's on a really good contract. I was thinking about this the other day. I think he could also be added as a trade piece if we're going big game hunting still. We don't know if we even have to do that still. I'll tell you what, Gerson Rosas' phone is going to have a lot of phone calls this offseason, and they're going to be about the pick if we get it. They're going to be about Beasley. They're going to be a few about Rubio. Like he's going to have a busy phone, and people are going to know his phone number come trade talk times, because we're probably looking to move at least a couple of these guys, if not two of them together, and a pick for a big game hunt type deal. But it gets really confusing, because if something like that doesn't work out, does Ricky Rubio come back here on a favorable deal compared to the one he's on? I mean, maybe he does. Maybe he wants to sit around here and be the leader to this young team for 2 more years. I don't know. That's a conversation you'd have to have with Ricky Rubio. But at the same point in time, I mean, Beasley could also be that guy, flamethrower off the bench. I mean, we got talent everywhere. It's just really gelling them together and putting them in the right spots. But I don't think there's a need for us to start D'Lo, Beasley, Ant, and Cat all together. One of them guys is going to have to move to the bench, and maybe Beasley becomes the flamethrower off the bench. I know we've all liked seeing D'Lo come off the bench, but I can promise you next season that D'Lo is going to be our starting point guard, because no max player comes off the bench. It gets tough. Don't get me wrong. It gets very tough. And I think Rosas has thought about this, and he's going to have to answer some of these questions come probably draft day trade type deal.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Chris.
I hope that D'Lo coming off the bench and doing it so honorably. So, I mean, who knows what's happening in the locker room, but I'm assuming he's not making a stink about it. In my perfect offseason, it's Rubio that gets moved, even though I love him, and I think he's valuable in a lot of ways other than box score. And I hope that the starting lineup, let's say we don't get the pick, and we don't have free agent money, so let's ignore that idea. So I'd say the starting lineup is D'Lo, Edwards, McDaniels, and then I start Nas and Cat. I mean, Nas to me needs to play 25 minutes a game. And if he doesn't, I think he needs to demand a trade. He's that good of a player right now. And I don't think we can keep holding him back. I think we need to start him next to Cat and take our lumps defensively, maybe on the perimeter. But the way that we're playing, the way that Cat can kind of move his feet out there, Nas can do the same thing, shuffle side to side, and Nas can protect the rim as good as Cat, if not better. I think we need to put that lineup out there and say, no, you guys need to adjust to us. We're going big, and if you're going small, Nas is going to just truck you in the post or Cat. That's what we need to do. We don't have enough talent to not start Nas at power forward in my mind. So then I think hopefully, like I was saying, D'Lo has been so good off the bench, as a citizen, that maybe Beasley would be like, okay, I'm going to be that same great, teammate that's going to come off the bench, and now I'm going to have the restrictor plate taken off, and I'm going to be just firing, which is what he wants anyways. If he was in the starting lineup, he's not going to be seeing many shots with those guys. So I think maybe D'Lo Beasley has to come off the bench, and hopefully we find maybe a little better backup point guard than McDaniel or than J Mac to kind of run with him.